This is not necessary, but I like to toast everything up a bit before I toss everything in the Reynolds kitchen oven bag. Yes, this is going in the bag with the chicken. I'm going to make it simple, easy, bake it up all together, and then we're going to toss our enchilada sauce together. I'm just going to add a little bit of avocado oil spray. For my poblanos, I am going to take the skin off after I toast them up, the best that I can. For the tomatoes, I'm just going to leave the skin on, and also leave it on for my jalapeno and my serrano. I have my serrano just for a bit more heat. And the jalapeno, they do give off a bit of heat, but not spicy enough for my taste, so I'm going to add a serrano in there too. I have some garlic, and this char is just going to add a bit more flavor and bring a little bit of smokiness, I guess you could say, to my sauce. As you can see, I don't have no tomatillos because I don't use them in my sauce, and I just prefer it this way. So to each its own. Like, you can't do this a wrong or a right way. It's your preference. Adjust things to your liking, and that's what the fun thing about cooking is. And as long as it tastes good, go for it. This is looking done enough for me. I'm going to let this cool. I'm going to take most of the skin off, whatever comes off easy, and everything else I'm going to leave as is. I'm using this Great Value brown rice instant natural whole grain. It's instant rice, so it's 1 cup rice, 1 cup water or chicken broth, whatever you want to use. And if you want to make more, just double everything. I like to rinse my rice, even if it's instant, I still rinse my rices. I'm going to add the 1 cup of water. Cilantro is going in. I have some chicken bouillon. You could use the powdered chicken bouillon or you could use the cube. I use the cube, but I like to chop it up a bit. And that's probably a tablespoon. Or a little bit less than a tablespoon. I have some lime. I'm going to put the zest of the lime and also some lime juice. The lime juice is going in. One medium-sized clove of garlic. This is how it's looking in the pot. I'm just going to give everything a mix. Just a bit of pepper. Just a tiny bit of salt because the bouillon cube has a lot of sodium and it's going to give it a lot of flavor. So be easy on the salt. And now I'm going to set it on the stove, bring it to a boil for about maybe 2 to 3 minutes, and then put it on simmer and cook it according to the directions on the box. Ready for the Reynolds kitchen oven bags. I'm using the turkey size. Just going to open it up, set it right here. The directions of using the cooking bag, you're going to see that it does require for you to use about a tablespoon of flour on the bottom of the bag. Let me see if I could face this in this direction. Okay, so now I'm just going to add my chicken. And try not to drip it, so I'm going to go ahead and get this as close as possible. And just take my chicken that I really washed really good, set it right there. I took the skin off of my poblanos. Yes, there's a few seeds, but I'm going to strain this after I make my sauce. So the peppers are going in the bag, and I'm just going to set them in here like that. I have my tomatoes. I'm just going to toss these in. My onion, my peppers, my garlic. I'm going to keep this pretty simple. So I do have a bit of dry oregano, just a bit. Toss it around all over. Ground cumin. And just make sure you get a sprinkle of it on everything. Some sea salt. Pepper. This is it for me. I'm going to keep it pretty simple because after we get all this done, we're going to make our sauce and we're going to add some stuff to the sauce. So now I'm going to bag my birdie up and all the goodies. I have my zip tie. I'm just going to twist this nice and secure. You want to put a few holes, just slice of maybe 1 or 2 small holes just so some air could get out of your bag and it doesn't burst. When I transfer this into the oven, I'm going to add some water in the bottom of the pan. I have a preheated oven at 350. This is going to bake for about 1.5 hours or until the eternal temperature of my chicken is 165. Adding the water to the bottom of the pan. I'm just going to go ahead and rip it open. And this is what it's looking like. There is a lot of good droppings as far as like whatever came out of the chicken for the broth and stuff like that. And I'm going to take that to my advantage. But first, I'm going to take all of this stuff out as far as the vegetables and the peppers and put it in a blender. My tomatoes. Poblanos are so tender. Nice and tender now. My chicken's actually falling apart. If you can see the leg, it's just falling apart. And it's kind of cold here, and I did open my door a bit because my oven was on, so I have a hoodie on. So it is what it is, you know, adapt to the weather because it's been rainy and cold here. Okay, I'm going to get my garlic. For the broth, I'm going to actually pick the bag up a bit and just grab some. Put it in the blender. And here's one of my peppers. But I don't want to add too much all at once. I'm going to blend this and see how thick it is and see what I want as far as for my sauce. So I'm going to scoot this over and let's blend this up and see what's going on. Now that everything is blended, I'm going to give this a bit of a taste test to make sure I'm seasoned enough as far as for my salt and pepper. Just going to shred this up a bit and just get it shredded enough for an enchilada. And I do have some pepper jack cheese. I'm going to add some pepper jack cheese. Just half of the amount that I actually shred because I'm going to use some of it to top my enchiladas. I have a bit of breast meat and some brown meat in here. Adding some cumin. Some salt. Some pepper. Mix this and make sure I shred it. And we are going to make our enchiladas. It's going to be so good. You don't want to prepare your corn tortillas in a microwave or anything like that. You want to saute them in some oil. I sauteed mine in some avocado oil, and I got them ready for my enchiladas, and they're ready to go. For my sauce, I'm just going to take the sauce right out the blender and just set a bit down on my baking sheet. Now that we have that done, we're going to fill our corn tortilla and we are going to just make our enchiladas. Make sure you give it a nice snug press and then roll. And just continue. The same process until you're done and you fill your pan. And it's your preference. Add as much as you like. Now that I have my enchilada sauce on my enchiladas, I'm going to add the rest of my pepper jack cheese. You could add as much cheese as you like. And just keep in mind, I'm single, it's just me here, so I'm making enough for one person. But if you want to make more, go ahead. I'm putting this in my toaster oven for about maybe 10 to 15 minutes at 300 degrees, just until all the cheese is melted and everything is fully warmed and cooked together. My two sides of choice are refried black beans with a bit of pico de gallo on top. And then I have my brown rice, which is cilantro brown rice. And yeah, so it's really, really good. Try it out. And then my enchiladas are done, so let's go ahead and plate this. I'm going to take 2 of these and set them right here. On my enchiladas, I have to have some pico de gallo. So I'm going to go ahead and top it off like that. And this is so delicious. Try it out. I promise you'll like it. And I'll see you in my next upload.